Okay, for today's little project, I'm going to show you a rope to chain splice. Now, all things being equal, the very best way to attach a rope to a bit of chain is to actually get a metal or nylon thimble, splice that in, and then use a shackle to attach it to a chain. You might not be able to do that. In our case, we can't do that because the pipe where the chain goes down into the anchor locker is too narrow to accept a thimble. And also, if you're attaching a bit of chain to your dinghy rode, which, like I recommend, that's a good thing to do, you might just want to do a nice neat rope to chain splice. And anytime you want to attach a chain to a rope, you can do it. Now you might be like, oh, chain directly to the rope for an anchor, that doesn't sound very reliable, but it served me well for years. Okay, this is something that I have used. It's not theory, it's practice. All right. So, and also I'll just address another thing. You'll see that I'm using 316 stainless chain, good quality 316 stainless chain. Some people will say it's no good for anchoring. It can just fail without warning. I guess the principle behind that statement is that test galvanized chain will show a bit of elongation before it fails. I can't remember the last time I saw some yachty going through and checking every link of his chain. But the other thing is in all seriousness, the real problem is where these welds are, they can get pit corrosion and you can get weakness and failing. Stainless steel needs oxygen to maintain its stainless finish. If you put it in an anaerobic or without oxygen environment, then it can corrode. So stainless chain is very bad for things like moorings and things like that, where it can lay in the sand or the mud, get covered over and no oxygen can get to it, and then that corrosion can happen at an accelerated pace, so it's really, really bad. But for anchoring, where it's often either in an anchor locker or up in the water column where there's plenty of oxygen, it's salt water, it's not so much of a problem, but you should really every now and then go through and look for any crevice forming, pitting corrosion and stuff like that, which is very, very obvious to see in stainless chain. You can cut it out and you can relink it. The other benefit of stainless chain is it's slippery. Okay, so if you're putting it into an anchor locker, it sort of bunches very, very easily and it comes out very easily as well. Whereas galvanizing, because of its rough nature, it's sort of a bit stickier. Stainless chain is very heavy and it's very, very strong. Okay, so like talking about anchoring systems amongst yachties is a little bit like mixing religion and politics at the same time, but there's my take on it for what it's worth. You can do what you like. But anyway, we'll get back to what we're doing. So, a rope to chain splice. Now, I'm using this 3-strand, and nylon is the best rope that you can put in your anchor rode because it has a very high rate of stretch. This is not nylon, this is polypropylene, but I will be replacing with nylon later on when I can get hold of some. Now I've got this hot knife, and just what I've been doing before off camera was just using it to smear the ends so I don't have to use tape to hold those little bits together. Now when you're splicing rope to chain, it's a bit of a variation. The one that I use is a bit of a variation on a long splice. And I'll show you how I do it. So just get one of them and unwrap it 8 turns. 1, 2, 7, 8. Okay. The other 2 go through a link and you pull it back to where your little bit of chain, or you pull it back to where this rope stopped on your 8 turns. Once you've got it through the chain, you want to untwist your remaining 2, like so, and what we want to do now, actually I'll get that just uppermost, pick one and it goes over the chain, and as you unwrap one of these, you actually follow it round with the other bit of rope. Oops. So you unwrap that and you put it in its place. See where you've taken this groove? The next one goes in its place. With rope, what you want to do is when you're putting it in, you twist it, okay, to see how you can twist it one way and it comes apart. You twist it so it's really tight, and then you lay it in. Because when this rope is manufactured, you actually have all of these bits being twisted that way, and then the main rope is twisted the other, and that's what holds it together. So that twist is very important. Take it out for another wrap. Put some twist on it and lay it in the groove that's formed. And you just keep doing that, making sure that the tension that you keep on this rope is roughly the same, all right? Enough to keep it nice and closed and tight, and then just a little bit more. Keep going back. And this is
you're just following it as you pull it away.
You're just following it as you pull it away. There's nothing much to it. Now I did 8 turns, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down around about 6 lays. Take it out, and then just like in a, whoops, twist it the wrong way, twist them in and lay it in. When you finish it off, it's sort of a little bit like a reef knot. So one's going to be higher, one's going to be lower. You actually want to go, they're going to cross like that. You see that?
Yep.
So just tuck that over like that. And when you pull it under the other one, it'll close down. It'll close down really, really nicely. So we'll just have a look at that again. So you've gotten to that stage, all right, and they're naturally going to cross. So in this instance, you come under that one, and then back over the top.
Yep.
Looks good. So this one that's following the rope.
Yeah, got it.
Goes under it, then over the top, and then.
So they're still going that same direction, yeah.
Under.
Yep.
And now, another thing that I like to do is just trim off a few. Of these. And I like the hot knife for that reason, because it gives it that melted end. Just about half of them, and then I'll go over one and under here, and that sort of locks it a little bit. What will happen though is it'll get a little bit of a bulge, but that's all right. I've got a fid here, but at the moment I'm able to just do that. So, and the nice thing about a hot knife is you can, of course, finish things off.
Cauterize.
Yeah, you can melt this, because it's plastic rope, isn't it? It's not a hemp product. It's not like the old style ropes. So you can melt that in, and that's fine. What I'm going to do is, and I'll do that with the other one, but for the time being, I'm going to leave that proud until the anchor's actually hung on it to a bit, and I'll find that will pull in just a tiny bit, and then I'll trim it off with a hot knife and flatten it. But for the time being, I'll just leave half an inch of it, well, it's a bit more like 1/4 of an inch, 6 mil if we're talking metric. I'll melt it up as well, just so it doesn't come apart, but I'll just leave a little bit standing proud. That might even just pull in of its own accord. And I'll do the same for this one. Just halve it, leaving a little bit that I can melt into it. Pull it to where I'm going to do it, like here. So you can see that bit that came off is actually quite long. That's the bit that we originally took off, and the other one just followed its place. So that goes to one side, ready for disposal. And again, when you tuck it away, just like normal splicing, you go over one and under. If this was really hard laid rope, then I would need my fid to open these up, but I've had my coffee, so I'm feeling strong, so I'm able to handle it pretty good.
Coffee and 3 cups of tea.
2 cups of tea.
Oh, 2, sorry.
You had 3 cups of tea. Give him the melt job. And like a hot knife, yes, they are expensive, but I'm able to justify it because I can do a nice professional job when I'm doing my marlinspike seamanship. So there we go. There's a little bit of a bulge there at the moment. It's not that obtrusive. It'll certainly go down the locker hole, but it will tighten. Okay, once I hang the weight of marul on this, that'll pull in. All right. So now we've got this other bit of line here. Okay. What this one does is basically just a normal splice. You're going alternately over one, under, over and under.
So this splice is going to make that section of rope slightly thicker.
It'll be slightly thicker than the rest of them for the rest of the rope.
Yeah.
So this one is just like any normal 3-strand splicing now. You're just going over and under, and it's just spiraling around the rope. It's under that one, it's over this one. So I just open the next one. Pop it under like that. Over one, under one. And you just keep going like this until you're really almost at the end. That's enough tucks for that to be really quite strong. It'll look at its best once it's had a bit of load put on it. If you want that to be a little bit more tapered, again, what you do is you just start removing a few strands for each tuck. So just pick a number. I'm going to take out 3 strands at a time. So by the time we get to the top, it'll be hardly any strands left at all. And there's a couple of different ways you can taper splices, but this is a pretty good one. Take that off, put that in the rubbish pile. Okay, and it's just exactly the same. I've taken a few strands off. It's over and under, over, under, and now I'll just pinch a few more strands out. Just separate them, cut them, unravel them out of the mass, put them aside out of the wind so they don't blow in the water, and whoops, pop that one that was in there before,
Under.
over, under. This is just a neatness tuck that I put under there. The real action is happening in there. Over and under. I reckon I'll just knock it off right there. So, getting nice and tight. And just use your hot knife to really just smear it down into the things, and that stops it from pulling through. So those bits where I just those bits where I cut it, just give them a little bit of a meltdown. Same with this guy. And that is your rope to chain splice. So what we've got effectively here, you don't lose any strength with this, and also this is the slippery part. So when that stainless is actually operating, you think, oh well, that'll wear through that rope in a matter of like minutes, but it doesn't. This is the slippery part here. I've never seen this. How long have we had the other rope to chain splice?
Didn't
Pascal?
we do it in the Kimberley?
Yeah, we've since had quite a bit of, like a lot of anchoring go through it, and it's none the worse for wear. It hasn't lost any strength. You'll see that I put 2 strands through here, and then the other one just sort of came around and well, one was sacrificial, wasn't it? It unwound, and 2 went through. Essentially, these are, if you've got any rigging experience, you'll know that when you basket a load, it's not exactly like on a round load like this. It's thicker than the rope, so it's, I don't know. There's 2 bits supporting the load, but it's not twice as strong. It's about 1.7. Call it 1.5, but you've got 2 of them, so 1.5, 1.5. That's 3. So you can argue the point, but I've had a bit of a chat to some rope manufacturers about it, and apparently this splice maintains 100% of the rope strength, if any splice can be said to do that. But there we go, that's a very slim finish rope to chain splice.